In this video, I'll be making a mock supplier invoice agent in Microsoft Copilot Studio. Here on your screen is the use case for today. I will not be making this agent from scratch, but will instead walk through the main components and give explanations. Overall, we will be using autonomous triggers and actions in an orchestration-enabled agent to create a SharePoint list item, start an approval process, update a SharePoint list item, and send some emails. Let's get right into the video. Okay guys, here we are inside of the supplier invoice agent. This is an orchestration enabled agent with the goal of triggering on an email, creating an item in SharePoint, starting an approval process, and updating this SharePoint item with the approval result. Okay, so we're going to walk through this step by step. Orchestration agents are still in preview, which means not everything works as expected all the time, and it isn't necessarily expected to be used in production environments. Reason I say this is most of the actions that this agent will take are laid out explicitly in our trigger flow, which is a Power Automate cloud flow in the back end. So let's start discussing all this. First off, we went ahead and created our trigger here, and we're going to trigger when a new email arrives. We've went ahead and added the send an email action, and we've given a small description as well as an instruction set. Okay, so if we take a look here at the instructions, all I'm passing to the agent as far as the orchestration responsibility goes is to check the email that is being sent in to trigger, and if there is no invoice PDF attachment, we need to respond requesting that PDF attachment. If there is an invoice PDF attachment, upon receiving approved or denied, we want to update the result of the approval by sending an email to that vendor. Okay, so that is not the only set of actions that we're taking here with this agent. The rest of the actions will actually be explicitly laid out in the trigger. So let's go take a look at that. What this trigger is doing exactly is it's going to create our SharePoint item, create an approval, and depending on that approval outcome, it's going to update our SharePoint list. And we're going to update the Copilot with the result of the approval by passing in our approved body here in the body message, which I'm setting here as the outcome of the approval, and I'm actually also passing the email recipient as well. Now let's take a quick look at our actual SharePoint list. It's pre-populated with some things here that I've done throughout testing. We are just creating a GUID for our title. We're keeping track of the supplier, the manager, the approved status, and I'm also giving the amount of the vendor transaction, which isn't too important for this agent. So now at this point, let's go ahead and test it out. Okay, here we are back inside of our trigger flow. I wanted to point a few things out. Firstly, our trigger here, when a new email arrives, what I've done is added a subject filter, supplier invoice. So this trigger will be triggered for any email that comes in with that subject filter. So when we go ahead and send in our email, I want to make sure I have that right. I'm going to say, hi, I'm looking to submit an invoice. And I'm just going to attach the invoice PDF, which is just a dummy PDF, invoice PDF that I've created. We're not actually using any Power Platform tools such as AI Builder to pull these values from the document. That is something we can do, but we're not doing for this specific agent. If you're interested in that, be sure to leave a comment. We can make that happen. So I'm going to go ahead and send this email, and you'll notice here in our agent that I've actually published this agent. So what this means is it should automatically trigger rather than me having to go down to my triggers, select test trigger, and wait for the trigger instance to appear here. Okay, here we are inside of our trigger flow in Power Automate, which again, you can navigate to here using the 3-dot ellipsis on your trigger and edit in Power Automate. We can see a new trigger instance 3 minutes ago that has started. So what this means is we should have created an item in SharePoint as well as started an approval. So let's first check the create an item. At this point, we should have a new pending item for $62,000, which is right here at the very bottom. And we should have also received an email with the request approval, which we can see here. So what I'll do is actually say approve. I'm not going to bother to add any comments. So we will approve this approval request. And now at this point, after a few seconds here, we should see the rest of this flow complete, which we just did. So at this point, we should have updated our SharePoint list. Let's verify that. This should now be set to approved. I'll give it a quick refresh. And we can see that our lowest item here on the list is now set to approved. And lastly, because we're actually sending something back to our Copilot, which is, we can take a look at exactly what we're sending back. Here we have the inputs as well as the outputs. And the inputs for this box here is the body and message that I've sent, and I said approve, and also the name of the quote-unquote vendor that I should receive an email for. So now let's go back to the email, and it could take a few seconds. We should receive an email here from our actual agent using the orchestration mode to follow this set of actions here. Upon receiving approve or denied, update the vendor on the result of the approval by using the send an email action. Okay, after a few minutes, the agent did respond via email saying, "Dear John Pearson, your invoice has been approved," showcasing that we can send information from our trigger flow back to our agent and have it act on it. In today's video, we use autonomous actions and triggers in Microsoft Copilot Studio to create a mock supplier invoice agent. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to see all future content. Leave a comment with video ideas or questions, and check out the description with more information on iLink and information on our Microsoft partnered in-a-day events where we go over use cases like today in more detail. Thank you for watching.